Hello, this is BBC Newsline. The headlines this Wednesday evening. Contractors are to be sent in to remove a controversial bonfire in South Belfast.
We can think of no other scenario where a structure like this, beside electrical infrastructure, wouldn't be swiftly removed, and that's the situation we're in at the minute.
There's condemnation of an effigy of refugees in a boat placed on top of a Tyrone bonfire. DUP councillor Linda Clark is suspended over her involvement in planning decisions lobbied on by her MLA husband. There's questions over why and how over £1 million is being spent on 3 sculptures for Bangor seafront.
In sport, the British and Irish Lions make it 4 wins in 4 on Australian soil as they beat the Brumbies in Canberra.
And it's been a warm day with temperatures reaching the low to mid-20s. And they are set to climb as we head into the bank holiday weekend. I'll be back with your full forecast at the end of the programme.
Hello and welcome to the programme. It's Wednesday, the 9th of July. We start tonight with 2 bonfires that are proving controversial. One in South Belfast between the Donegal Road and the Westlink. This afternoon, a council committee agreed it should be removed because it's near a major electricity substation. Health bosses say it's a potential risk to the power supply to the Royal and City hospitals. And there are also concerns about asbestos on the site. Meanwhile, in County Tyrone, there's been condemnation over the placing of this effigy of refugees in a boat on top of a bonfire in Moygashel. We'll hear about that in a moment, but first, our reporter Julie McCullough has been looking at the bonfire in South Belfast.
This is the bonfire the council wants removed. Why? Well, it's built next to a major electricity substation in South Belfast. Located between the Westlink and the Donegal Road, it supplies power to both the Royal Victoria Hospital and Belfast City Hospital. Northern Ireland Electricity has said there is a potential risk to critical infrastructure and power outages. There's also been an issue around asbestos on the site. This afternoon, Belfast City Council said it was taking action.
So the SP&R committee has voted today to have the bonfire removed from where it is currently situated. My understanding is a contractor is now on standby. We can think of no other scenario where a structure like this, beside electrical infrastructure, wouldn't be swiftly removed, and that's the situation we're in at the minute.
Today's motion was passed by majority. The DUP voted against.
This bonfire's been on the site since January. There has been ongoing engagement across all that time around the different issues. And we believe that it is detrimental to those relationships that have been built up to now move in there and start to remove a bonfire, over the will of that community, whenever they have worked to try and work with the other agencies to put mitigations in place.
It's not clear exactly when the contractor will remove the bonfire, but considering it's due to be lit on Friday night, it doesn't leave much time, something councillors in today's meeting were very aware of.
So there's no risk-free option, alas, here, and one of the things that we were considering today was what the best course of action is. And on balance, given the risk to the infrastructure there, we thought that we should move ahead and clear this out. But it is a few days out, and obviously nobody wants to be making decisions so late in the day whenever a more orderly arrangement could have been put in place.
It's not the first time a bonfire has been removed. 4 years ago, contractors were hired to take away this one at Bloomfield Walkway in East Belfast.
Whether it's Walkway, Avonneal, whether it's Tigers Bay, this year it's off Donegal Road in South Belfast. So in terms of the issues themselves, there's nothing really new there. So I suppose frustration at this point that we all know the 11th of July is coming, we all know that there are issues around bonfires, but yet again we're having conversations about the position of a bonfire, its location and the potential risks to it.
For now, it seems that the talking time is over for this bonfire in South Belfast. It's just a matter of when it will be taken away. Julie McCullough, BBC Newsline.
Meanwhile, in County Tyrone, this bonfire in Moygashel has attracted much condemnation. It's due to be lit tomorrow night. Our Mid-Ulster reporter Niall McCracken has the story.
This morning, images began to emerge of the model of a small boat on top of a bonfire in Moygashel, just outside Dungannon. The boat has several figures inside and is on top of a banner saying, "Stop the boats," and "Veterans before refugees." Bonfires in Moygashel have been in the news before. In July 2023, the Moygashel bonfire had a picture of the then Taoiseach Leo Varadkar on it. In July last year, the bonfire featured a mock police car on top of the structure. This year's bonfire has also prompted widespread reaction.
Absolutely disgusted, I have to say. This is a vile and a deplorable act. It's clearly a hate crime. It's clearly aimed at inciting hatred, and it needs to be removed.
Anybody working with the groups dealing with the culture and identity in and around the Moygashel area, to appeal them to take all this down immediately.
People who will say it is art, the bare fact that there will be a fire put on this boat and on these people who are in the boat on top of the bonfire makes it more than art, and no, we don't agree with that.
Frankly, it's vile, it's dehumanising, and it fuels hatred and racism, and that is its purpose.
In a social media post, UUP leader and Health Minister Mike Nesbitt said the effigy on the bonfire was sickening, deplorable and entirely out of step with what is supposed to be a cultural celebration. A DUP spokesperson added, "We support those within our community that wish to celebrate their culture by continuing with the tradition in a peaceful, positive and safe way. The placing of flags, effigies or other items on bonfires is not part of that tradition and should not take place." Police said they were aware of an item being placed on a bonfire in the Moygashel area and that inquiries were continuing. In a statement, the Moygashel Bonfire Committee said it was addressing what it called the ongoing crisis that is illegal immigration. A spokesperson for the committee added, "This year's bonfire topper should not be seen as racist, threatening or offensive." The bonfire in Moygashel is due to be lit tomorrow night. Niall McCracken, BBC Newsline.
And you can read more on both those bonfire stories right now on our website or by downloading the BBC News app. A young boy has died following a hit and run in the Strand area of Portaferry last night. The collision involved a car and the scooter the child was riding. He was taken to hospital but later died from his injuries. A 51-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of a number of offences. And in Bangor, a teenage girl has died after being hit by a car last night. She was 16-year-old Jaden Rice, who was from the area. The collision happened before 11 o'clock on the West Circular Road. The teenager was pronounced dead at the scene. Police said they're investigating the circumstances of the collision and have appealed for witnesses. Now, a DUP councillor has been suspended for 3 months over her involvement in planning decisions lobbied on by her MLA husband. Linda Clark from Antrim and Newton Abbey Borough Council was investigated by the Local Government Standards Commissioner. It found she failed to declare an interest when her husband, Trevor Clark, made representations on a number of planning applications. Our political reporter Brendan Hughes has more.
This is Linda Clark with her husband, the DUP MLA Trevor Clark. She's a party councillor and works in his South Antrim constituency office. Linda Clark has been under investigation by a council standards watchdog for voting on planning decisions her husband was lobbying on. Today's hearing was told Linda Clark sat on the council's planning committee in May 2017 when her husband made representations on 2 applications. She continued to take part in decisions despite a council lawyer having earlier advised her of a potential conflict of interest. The watchdog found there had been several breaches of the councillor's code of conduct. Assistant Commissioner Ian Gordon imposed a 3-month suspension, saying there had been significant critical public comment concerning the councillor's actions and that planning is a matter of substantial public interest. The case followed headlines in 2019 on several planning issues, including the Clark's consultancy business and a triple garage built at their home without approval.
Thanks to the rest of my election team, my wife for putting up with me for the last number of weeks.
It's the second time a councillor working in Trevor Clark's office has been sanctioned. John Smith was suspended from a council planning committee 2 years ago for not declaring an interest when his employer made representations. The Clarks didn't attend today. They previously insisted they adhered to all rules, but the hearing was told Linda Clark has since expressed regret and apologised. This was the last of 3 watchdog cases linked to the Clarks, 2 here and 1 at Stormont. That's taken 6 years, but rebuilding confidence in the planning system may take longer. Brendan Hughes, BBC Newsline, Belfast.
Police are appealing for information after 14 cars were set on fire at a property in Mullaglass in Lisburn. The cars were part of a small family car sales business. The business owners have said they do not know why they were targeted and that they've been trading there for 38 years. Detectives say they're treating the incident as arson. The chair of the Infected Blood Inquiry says thousands of victims of the scandal are being harmed further by long waits for compensation. It's thought 30,000 people were infected with HIV and hepatitis B or C in the 1970s and 80s after being given contaminated blood products on the NHS.
We feel grateful towards Sir Brian Langstaff that he didn't close the inquiry because he smelt a rat, and he kept the inquiry open, which enabled a second publication of today's findings. So good that that's happened, but we just have to wait and see. And you need to come back to me to see if the government will accept the recommendations and actually implement them as is suggested.
Well, there's said to be some of the most eye-catching pieces of public art in Northern Ireland, but some North Down residents are questioning why and how over £1 million is being spent on 3 sculptures for Bangor seafront. Our arts correspondent Robbie Meredith has more.
As part of a long-awaited redevelopment, 3 distinctive sculptures are to be sited on Bangor seafront. The main one will be a 6-metre tall set of hands in bronze called Hope Returning. There will also be 2 smaller sculptures at Picky Park and Eisenhower Pier, all created by well-known local artist Colin Davidson. According to the Department for Communities, the overall cost of the installations will be just under £1.3 million, with the department contributing over £1 million and Ards and North Down Borough Council around £230,000. Other big pieces of public art like the Rise sculpture on Belfast Broadway and the Factory Girls sculpture in Londonderry were put out to tender and competition among artists. Some residents in North Down want to know why that didn't happen in Bangor.
So when we realised that this for some reason didn't go to tender, we couldn't understand why Ards and North Down Borough Council were different to other councils.
And why, therefore, was there no competition for this? So it would just be good to know those answers.
The council's own constitution talks about engaging with the public and stakeholders and the rest of that political speak, and nobody feels as if the public have been engaged on any sort of level at all.
In response to questions from BBC Newsline, the Department for Communities said that procurement was a matter for the council, but they cited a legal clause in public contracts regulations which allows for the direct procurement of a unique piece of art. The council, meanwhile, said they had identified an opportunity to secure the services of blue-chip artist Colin Davidson. And in discussion with the principal funder, the Department for Communities, the council decided to commission Colin Davidson via direct award. That's unlikely to supply the residents with the answers they want. The sculptures are due to be installed on the seafront by next summer. Robbie Meredith, BBC Newsline.
Turning to golf, and Rory McIlroy was refreshed after 3 weeks off and in good form today as he prepares to play in the Scottish Open tomorrow. It's his warm-up for next week's Open Championship at Royal Portrush, and he was asked just how special it would be to win a major on home soil.
I'd love to win an Open at Portrush, absolutely. I'd love to win an Open at St Andrews. I'd love to win a US Open at Pebble Beach. I'd love to win a PJ at PJ Frisco. Not, but no. But you can't pretend that it's not there. But when you're on the golf course, you just have to go out there and play as if you're not playing at home and just play as if it's another golf tournament. But, there's something extra there, just like there is at an Open at St Andrews or a US Open at Pebble Beach, for example.
And in football, Linfield's Champions League campaign got underway in the last few minutes as they faced Shelbourne in the first leg of their qualifying round tie. The latest score we have is still Shelbourne 0, Linfield 0, and you can watch the game live on the BBC Sport website as well as on the iPlayer, and we'll have the final result on tonight's late bulletin. Finally tonight, Kenny Bruce has sold his 50% stake in the Irish Premiership club Larne. Bruce took over the club in 2017 and since then Larne have won 2 Irish Premiership titles and had a run to the league phase of the UEFA Conference League last season. Red Ball, they are an American firm, have acquired Bruce's stake. And that is your sport this evening. Lindsay.
Thanks, Nicola. To the weather now, and it was a muggy one for many of us today, but Rosie looks like she was enjoying herself on her walk in Cultra. Ali Totten's with us now to take us through the coming days. Ali, how's it looking?
Well, Lindsay, it was certainly a good day for a dog walk. It was quite warm with temperatures widely sitting in the low to mid-20s, and not just a good day for a dog walk, a good day for the farmers as well. It was largely dry with just a few showers around at times. And it seems like it wasn't just the farmers enjoying the weather. This is Heron sitting out in Belfast getting some sunshine. So this evening will stay dry and settled for most of the night. There'll be a bit of cloud building towards the early hours with overnight lows sitting around 11 to 13 degrees, so it could feel quite mild and muggy. So a bit of a cloudy start to tomorrow. However, there'll be more in the way of sunshine in the afternoon as the cloud breaks. So it could be a bit cloudy and dull to start off with, potentially a shower towards the west, but it should be a largely dry day with more in the way of sunshine in the afternoon. Temperatures steadily climbing, sitting around 23 to 24 degrees. And tomorrow night it should be dry and settled again. Clear skies for most of the night with similar temperatures to tonight, sitting around 11 to 13 degrees. So it could feel quite mild and muggy, especially when trying to sleep. Not the best conditions for that. So having a look at Friday, there'll be plenty of sunshine right across Ireland. However, there may be a little bit of misty and murkiness towards the east coast to start off with. However, that should fade away throughout the day. Temperatures again on the climb, sitting around 25 to 26 degrees for most places. And that theme continues into the bank holiday weekend, with those temperatures rising into Saturday and Sunday. Could reach 26, if not up to 28 degrees, with plenty of sunshine as well. However, those UV levels will be high on Saturday and Sunday, so don't forget to pack the sun cream. Lindsay, back to you.
That's it for now. Our late news is at 10:30. Until then, you can keep up to date with the BBC News NI website and with Radio Ulster. Bye-bye.